Hello guys, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. In this video, we are going to discuss entity framework call relationships. So all relationship involved in database, that is a one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationships. So we're going to have a look at these all relationships with examples for you to understand how to implement that and how to use as well. So we are going to create an API, and with the help of some packages such as entity framework call, SQL server, and also entity framework call .tools, it's going to help us to achieve this relationship tutorials. So let's get going. Now, as you can see, I have launched my Visual Studio 2022. And we're going to use .NET 7.0 because as I record this video currently, that is the current version that we have now. And that's what you're going to do with this video. So as you can see on the screen, now you create a new project. Now with this project, we are going to select Web API. So you can just select it from here, as you can see here. Can just select it over here, and that is a C#. And next, now let's give it a name. So let's say EFCore relationships. So click on next. So we are creating a project, and that is the project name. So we wait while it's loading. Now, as you can see, the target framework here is 7.0. That's the current one, but you see we have 3.1, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. I'm going to use 6.0 or 7.0. So we have HTTPS checked, use controller, and also enable API support as well. So click on create to create a project for that's going to be an API project. So our project is now ready. So before we start, let's first read about the relationship that we have. Currently, we have 3 database relationships. And I have a site over here, and that is a port.sas.ac.uk, and it has the types of relationship that we have. So the first one, you can see we have one-to-one relationship, and now that is what you see here. So one-to-one. Okay, so it is matched from one to the other one as well. And as you can see from here, we are saying that one-to-one relationship connects one entity to one other entity. So it is matched from one entity to the other entity. Now, one-to-many relationship connect one entity to more other entities. So as you can see from here, one is matched to more. So that is a one-to-many. Or it can be reversed as many to one. Also, many-to-many relationship connects many entities to many entities. So as you can see from here, we have 3 entities here, and they are matched to each other, as you can see. So it can be matched to any. So these are the frameworks. So these are the relationship that we are going to have a look at. So first of all, this is what we're going to do. We are going to install our packages, and that is what you're going to use for this project. So in this, let's go to our Solution Explorer. Now, and the dependencies, right click, let's go to manage NuGet packages, and now we're going to install entity framework. So go to browse, now entity framework. So we are going for entity framework call. So entity framework, that is over here, call. Let's install this. Now entity framework, we need to install SQL server. So click on install. Alright, so let's also install that tools here. So that's the Microsoft.entity framework call.tools. Solution Explorer. Now when you click on our dependencies, so let's expand that and packages. So you can see we have all these 3 packages installed over here. So we have SQL server, tools, and entity framework call. Alright, so now we are good to go. Now the first thing to do here is we are going to use a product and a category as an example in our project. So what you're going to do here is we are going to create a model, and that model we are going to use it for the entity. But first of all, let's have database connection first. So let's add a folder to this. Right click on this, let's add a folder, and at the name of the folder you're going to name it as data. Now let's add a class to this. So let's add a class, and now with this class you're going to name it as appdb context. So let's see, so appdb context, and that's going to be our connection file or connection class. So we add it, so we wait. Alright, so here we are going to inherit from db context, and that is what, since we've installed SQL and Entity Framework, we are good to go. It's going to work. And so control plus dot, that's a period, and let's use Microsoft Entity Framework core. So right click control and dot, let's generate the appdb constructor, and here we need to include our appdb context file, or that is a class that we've created. Okay, so connection is now ready. Now let's go to our app settings, and but before that, let's click our Server Explorer. Now it is over there. When you go to view, you can see we're going to have a Server Explorer. Click on that. Now let's create a database. So right click on data connection and click on create new SQL server database. So the server here, that is local, because I'm using local host. So local, then the name is what? So EFCore. So this EFCore relationships. So that's the name of the database. Now click on OK. So we have it over here. So right click on this and go to properties, and as you can see here, you can see we have connection string. So right click, that is highlighted, and copy. So control or right click and copy that. Now let's go to app settings.js, and now in here we are going to have a database connection. So on top we are going to add connection string. So over here, now let's give it a name, default connection. So that's the name of our connection. Now let's paste what we have here. So you can see we have that's the initial catalog, that's the database, and security is true. So let's add trusted connection. So trusted connection, let's set this to true as well, and aside from that we can add trust server certificate to, we can also set to true. Okay, so now we have our connection stated here, and we can actually use a default connection over there. So let's copy this, let's save, and now once you have a class, a DB context class created, let's go to Solution Explorer, now program.cs, and now here we are going to add the connection. So we need to use builder.services. So .add, let's see, so DB context. So app DB context here. Now with this DB context, we're going to pass in the app DB context. That's a class that you created, app DB context. So once you have this, you must pass in an options. So we have options, and now with this options, this max 2. So this max 2 we're soon going to have an options dot, then here we need to use SQL server builder. So we have builder dot, we have our configuration, so dot get connection string, and now we open parenthesis, and now double quote, and we pass in the default connection that we copied over here. We close it. So we have, then we close this as well. So you can see we have a database connection mapped over here in the program.cs file, and we are good to go. Now once you have this, the next thing to do here is we have to create a class. So let's go in there. We can actually save all. Now Solution Explorer, let's right click and click on add new class. And now with this new class, you're going to have category. So that is a category class. So we save it, and now with this category, it has. So we're going to have now here we can actually pass in prop, then hit on the tab key. Now int, and that's going to be an ID. Now category, so here the same thing as well. Then here going to be string, and here is going to be name. So category name here, we can set this to string.empty. And set it to empty string over here. So you can see we have ID, we have name. So that's for category. Alright, let's save this. Now in our table, this is what we're going to do. We have to create a table. So that is a category. You can copy this, and in our AppDB context, we are going to create here. So we're going to paste this category. Then this is going to be categories. Alright, so you can see, and now public, so this is going to db set. So with this db set, we pass in this model. Okay, so now let's save this. And now to create this table in a database, let's perform migration. So let's click on tools, then NuGet package manager, then click on package console. With the package console as we have here, we are going to perform database migration. So as you can see, we have everything intact. Now let's use add migration. So this, we're going to give it a name as create category table. Now let's wait and see. Whilst it's being migrated, we wait. Alright, so it is done, succeeded. Now let's update it. So update database, so we can actually see the table. So let's update it. So we wait. So bit succeeded. Let's wait while it gets updated. So now it is done. You can see it has now run some SQL commands here. Now you can see we have a new file created, and the name here is going to be what? Migration. And if you check here, create category table. So that's the name that we specify. So you can see we have a primary key, that is the ID, and now it is done now. Now let's go to the same place, Server Explorer. Now click on that, refresh it, and now open tables. So you can see we have categories created. Now right click, and now go to show table data. Or even when you open this, expand, you can see we have ID and name here. Now let's right click and show table data. Click on that. Now let's wait while it's going to pop up, so we can pass in some categories in this table. Okay, so you need to pass in only the name, and that's all. So once you are done with this, you're going to create another class, which are going to perform a migration as well to create a table. Then we're going to handle the one-to-many relationship. So as you can see from here, we need to add. So let's say this is electronics. So that is electronics. Maybe you can have clothes. We can have let's say can we have utensils? And you can actually have, let's use any bags. So here, bags. Then you can actually have refrigerators. Okay, so we have 5 categories over here. We can actually add more. So televisions, and you can add even mobile phones. Okay, all right, and yeah, so let's maintain this. Okay, so we have seven categories over here. Okay, so now you can actually now save this. So now this is what we actually have. Now the next thing to do here is we're going to create a product, whereby this product is going to be based on this. So as you can take, as you watch here, we have a category. Now a category may have a list of products, but each product must have only one category. So that means it is one to many. One category, many products. So that's a one to many. Okay. So if you check here, you can see with the one to many, we are saying that this connects one entity to more other entities. So we are having a category here, and you're having a list of products. So one category may have list of products. Let's have a look at that once we move on. So once we are done with this, let's now add a class. So Solution Explorer, let's right click, and now we add a class. So click on add. Now we're going to add a class, and now this class is going to be product. So product. Now with this, you're going to have PROP. So we have ID. Then the next one, you're going to have name. So that's going to be string. Then we have product name. And aside from that, you can have, maybe you can decide to, so let's set this to enable. So let's specify this as maybe double, and that's going to be the price. Okay, so now we have name and price. Now once you have this, we need to specify the relationship. Okay, so a product may have one category, so you're going to have PROP. So you can see we have this, then that's going to be a category. Then here is going to be a category. Then we specify the category ID. So int, and that's going to be the category ID. Okay, now so you can see that we have only one, because a product is going to have, this represents single product. So one product is going to have one category. Now let's go back to the categories, and now with the categories model, we're going to have a list of products. So let's take this off. Now let's make it as nullable, and here we're going to have a list. So a list of products, and now the name is going to be products. Okay, so here with the categories, one category is going to have a list of products, but when you go to product, one product is going to have what? One category. So products here may belong to only a category, but when you go to the category side, one category is going to have a list of products, and that's what we call as one to many. So that's a one to many. All right, so once you have this, let's perform database migration. Then we can actually pass data into the table. So the same thing that you're going to do, package console, and now here, so add migration. But first of all, we need to create a table first. So let's go to AppDB context. Now let's copy one of these and let's paste it here. So inside of the category, here's going to be product, and now just add s to it as product over here. So we save that. Now let's go in there and perform our migration. So add migration, and here add product table. So let's wait while it's being migrated. So now you can see it is done here. Now let's update database. So update database over here. Now once it's being done, you're going to see that. So if you actually check, now it is running the query here, done. So if you actually check, you can see we have the product table, and if you check, let's see, you can see we have a foreign key. That's the category ID. Okay, so we see we have a foreign key over here. Now what the table is being updated, let's go Solution Explorer, refresh it, and now let's say we're going to have the product table also being added. So let's refresh this. Let's refresh this table. Next we have product here, so right click on product and now click on show table data. So we have product, so you can see we have ID, name, price. Now you can see we have here as category ID. So let's pass in some values. Now the name of the product here, let's try to pass in data over here and see. Now also if you check the category ID, you must pick it from the category. So you can see category you have 1 up to 7, so you must pick from 1 up to 7. Alright, so you can see I went offline and I decided to pass in this data over here. So category ID, because you have 1532 1532 55. Okay, so you can see when you go to the 5, that was Samsung freezer and the 6. Now when you check the category, you can see we have here as refrigerated. So you can see one category has many products. That's the one too many. That's what you are doing. Now once you have this, for us to actually render this, we need to create a controller. So let's save all, then let's go to Solution Explorer. Now in our controller folder, we're going to add, then let's add a controller, and now the name is going to be a product. So let's add API controller, an empty one. Let's add, and let's give it the name as product controller. So product controller. So product controller, let's add it here. So we add a controller. Let's inject our appdb context file. So first of all, we have to create a constructor. So control and dot. Let's see, let's close this. Alright, so control period. Now let's generate a constructor here. And we're going to pass in appdb context. Then so control period, we are going to create and assign the field. Alright, so we have this. Now the next thing to do here is we have to get the list of products. Okay, so let's have HTTP get. Then we have our public, going to be an async, so it's task. Then this task is going to be an action result. So action result, and now with this we are getting the list of products. So we are getting a list of products, and now the name here is get. Okay, so let's see, let's have our product is equal to, so let's have an await keyword, then appdb context dot. So you can see we have a product table. Okay, so we have this. So with this, can we have .to list? So .to list async to just grab or get at the list of products. Aside from that, let's return the product. So return product here. That is what you're going to have. So you can see here, you're going to pass in or we are going to get a particular ID, or you're going to get all products. But here, since we are going in for a category ID, so we want to pass in the ID, then we grab the specific products related to that category ID. Okay, so let's pass in int, that is a category. So category ID, and instead of getting the list here, we want to pass in product. So dot, let's use where, then we can pass in this category. So that's a C category dot, and here we are going for category ID. So it's equal to this category ID. Okay, then aside from that, we pass it to list, then we return the list to the view. Okay, so whilst we have this, we are going to supply a category ID. Okay, so in here we can specify it over here, and that's going to be an integer. So we need an ID here, and this ID we want it to be an integer. So you pass in the category ID, and now this ID is going to be used to get at the list of products. Now let's save this and let's run application. So click on this run application and see. So before we run this, we can still take this off because we need not to specify it over here. So we need not to specify it as well. So let's take this off with the routing. So let's save this. Now let's run application and see what we have now. So let's save this. Let's run the application. So let's see, now we have product. So get product, let's click on that, and let's try it out. So you can see here we need to pass in the category ID because in our controller we have a particular, that's a parameter that it requests for the process to be made. So let's click on try it out, and let's pass in the ID of 1. So let's see, let's click on execute, and let's see what we have now. So remember that this category ID is one to many. So this category ID has how many product? So you can see it has 2. So that's an ID category, that's a category ID over here, and you can see it has this bag and this gray bag. Let's pass another one as well. So let's see 2, and category ID of 2 has how many products? You can see it has t-shirt and cover over here. Now if you decide to pass in 3 as well, or 5, let's say execute, and you can see here it has almost 4 or 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 products: Chick, Samsung, Netcode, and chest. So as you can see right here we have this. So that's the one to many. So one category, many products. So that's the one to many, or many to one relationship. I believe this is clear. Now next one, let's talk about the one to one relation. So what is the one to one? So meaning here one is matched to the other one, because if you check the site here, we are saying that one to one relationship connect one entity to one other entity. So only one match to the other one. So in such case, what are you going to do to have a relationship, or going to have a one-to-one entity? So let's add another model, and that's going to be so let's close this. Now we are done with the one-to-many or many-to-one relationship. So Solution Explorer. Now we're going to add another class, another model. So add new model, and here you want to term it as colors. So here is color. So now with this color, you're going to, before color, now let's make it at size. So let's change this to size instead. So it is going to be size. So with this size, you want to have large and extra large, small and medium. So with this, let's see, we have PRP, and here's going to be an int, and that is an ID. Now aside from that, we have the size. So we have this is a string size, and that is a size here. Now since we are matching 1 to 1, okay, so let's say we have the size. Oh yeah, so let's say it is size name. So here let's make it at name. Okay, now in order to have the one-to-one, we need to have this. So just product. Now in this is the same product. Okay, so we have product here, and now we need to have product ID. So as we did, so here gonna be int, then this is product ID. Now once you have this, what is the next thing to do? Let's go in there to the product class. So that is over here, and now let's add size, because you know this is 1 to 1, so we need not to have a list in this. There's no list involved, so we have size, and that is the object here, size. So product, we have product, and we have the product ID, because with the size table we want to have a product ID where we're going to specify the product ID. Okay, so once you have this, let's copy this size, Now let's go to the appdb context file. So where is it? It's over here, appdb context. That is over here. All right, now let's copy this and let's paste this here. So instead of the product, we're going to make it as size, and now here's going to be sizes. Now once you have this, let's perform database migration too as well. So let's save this and package manager console. So add migration. So add size table. We wait while it gets migrated, as you can see from here. Aside from that, when this is done, we have to update database. So let's update it, and like you see, we have a size table being added here. Now while it is done, we go to our server explorer, then we refresh our table to get the table as well. So refresh this table, refresh, and you can see we have the size table. So right click on this and now click on show table data, and now we are going to add size to this. But you see with the size, we have a product ID. Okay, so that's 1-to-1. So let's see. Now ID 1, this size we have large, and now the product ID here is known as 1. So product 1 is large. Now the next one we have small, and here it is for ID 2. So that's 1-to-1. Now the next one we have medium, and that is for 3. The next one, maybe you could see we have XXL. Okay, and that is for ID 4. And you may have XX, the 1X and the L. So let's say that's going to be for 5. Okay, and let's say, do we have you can say medium, or we can have let's maintain this 1 up to 5 over here. So it means product number 1 is large. So when you go to product table, there's a product table. So it means this bag, it is large. That's the product ID 1. So this product ID 1, that is bag, and it is what? Large. Now ID 2 here, chest freezer, what is it? And here it is small. Now when you go to the next one, as you can see from the product, third one, that's a spoon, and as you can see from here, it is small, or that's a medium. Okay, so it means each one is matched to one product. Now let's see, let's save this. Okay, let's save this. Now we need to create a controller or a method to get us the list of these one-to-one relation data. So in order to do that, let's go to our product controller, and now in here we can actually copy this. Now let's copy this and paste this here. Now instead of list, this is not list anymore. Here it is still getting a product, and now we say get product. So here's going to be get product. Okay, so now with this, so in here we can still make it as list. So we can still make this as list, and now we just have to change the name as get product. Now with this get product, we pass in the category ID as well. Now we get all product where category ID is equal to this category ID. Then here we have to include size. So let's include, so dot, then we can have an include. So with this include, we're going to have, since we're going for size x, so s mass to s dot, then we're going to have size. So we're going to include that. Then we get to a list, we return product. Now let's save this, let's run application. So I believe when we run this program, this application, you're going to have an error here. The reason is this is get, and that's also get, so confusion is going to set in. So this is what we're going to do. Now let's include this into, or let's include this size. Okay, let's cut this, and now let's include into the first one here. That's very simple. So now let's Okay, so let's clear this. Still one, just that here we are including the size. So let's save this and then let's refresh the application and see. So let's wait while it refreshes to see what we have now with the one-to-one relation. Alright, so now let's see, let's click on the API. So try it out. Let's pass in the ID of 1. So product, let's see for the product. Alright, so here we have, oh, okay, so JSON. Whoa, so we need to actually add. The reason is making a cyclical. So this is what we have to do. Let's ignore JSON script. Let's try to pass it over here. So ignore. And let's see if so JSON ignore. Let's add that here. Now let's save this. Let's refresh here and see if this actually going to work. Alright guys, for us to achieve our aim and to get it quick as well, I have to go offline and try to do one or two things, and this is what I have now. So you can see with this we had it already. That's the first one to get us the one-to-many relationship. Now instead of here including the size, we decide to take the size off. We don't want to confuse you, so I want to make it simple as well. Now if you check the next action method here, we are specifying the product ID here. Now we see we want to, since it is a one-to-one relationship, it means one product, one size. One product, one size. So you can see from here we are specifying the route as product ID as opposed to be an integer. And now if you check here, we are getting a single because it is one-to-one, so we need not to get a list. We are getting one-to-one over here. But you can still get a list here, but we can still we are getting that is the size of a single product as well over here. Okay, now that's a get product size. We pass in the product ID, and now we check from the size table and grab all data which have the product ID equal to what you're going to pass in. Then you're going to return the size. So you're going to return the product size. Now let's refresh this, let's save this, and let's refresh. Aside from this, we try to get us all the data, and we also pass in the various size as well. So while this gets loaded, we see that you're going to pass in, as you can see, you're going to pass in the product ID, and you're going to see its size. So one entity matched to the other one, so it means one product, one size. Let's see, so there's no single product or double product that have the same size. Now let's see, try it out over here. That you can see that's a product and a product ID. Let's pass in product ID of 5. Now let's run this, and we are going to see something like the size. So you can see we have the ID, that's the product ID as 5. The name is what? Size is XXL, and the product ID is going to be 5 over here. We can pass in product ID of 1 and execute it, and we see we have it is large, that is a bag. We can pass in the next one as 4, execute, and that is an XXL. We can pass in 2 as well, and we have it at small. So there is a one-to-one relationship. So it means one object is matched to the other one. Now the last one left that we need to talk about here is going to be the many-to-many relationship. Now the many-to-many relationship, this is what you're going to do. So we are going to create another class here, and that's going to be for a color. Now all products going to may have the same color as well. So right click on, not the solution, rather right click on a project. Then let's add a class. So add a class here, and now there's going to be color. So we have the, so that's going to be an integer, and that's for ID automatically for as primary key. We're going to have the name. Okay, so that's the color name. So here is going to be string instead. So string, and that's going to be name. Okay, so you can see we have an ID and a color name. Now we need to get a list. So let's have a list of products, and you're going to name it as product. Then get set as well. Now let's go to the same part as there. So this is for another color. Let's go to the product and also repeat the same thing, because here it is many to many. So let's go to product, then let's paste this, and now instead of product here, this is going to be of color, and here it's going to be colors. So let's go to our app.db context file, and now let's create our table. So you create our table here, and now instead of the size here is supposed to going to be color, and now we need to add just as colors. Let's perform a database migration. So let's take this off first, take off the debug mode, then package manager console. So add migration, so add color table, and now let's perform migration. So what it is done, we need to update the database so we can pass in colors to the list. Now let's update database, so update it, and as of when it is done, we go to our SQL, and it is done now. So server objects, let's refresh the table, and we are going to have that is the color table here, as you can see. Okay, so we have our color. Now let's right click and now open show data table or table data, and now let's try to add color name. So in here we need to add, so let's add, you can talk of red, you can talk of blue, you can talk of white, you can talk of brown, then let's say purple, on top of yellow. Okay, and maybe you can add indigo as well. So these are the colors that we have for now. So let's check it again here, and okay, so I think there's a mistake over there, so let's make a correction. So public, so it's supposed to be public. Now let's go to product, and that's supposed to also be public. Let's save them again. And now we need to you need to add migration as well. So add migration, correct, that is a color table. So we add other migration, then when it is done, now we have to update database. So let's update the database. So let's go in there while it is writing the queries. Let's see, let's refresh our table again. Alright, so you can see we have color product, right? And you can see we have color. So that is a list. Now let's go to our color first, show table data, and now let's say we have our data in, and now let's go to our color product. So right click on that and then click on show data. So you can see we have color ID and product ID. So color ID 1 is for product ID 1. Let's product ID 2, color ID 2 for product ID 1, color ID 3 for product ID 3, color ID 1, color ID 4 for product ID 2. Okay, since it is many to many, color ID 5 is for product ID 2. Okay, now color ID 1 for product ID 2. So let's say the row was not committed, so let's say it is up to you. So color ID, do you have color ID 6 for product ID 2? Alright, then now let's see for the colors. So color data, you can see we have up to 7, and we can have color ID 7 is for product ID of 3. Okay, so now we have this, and we are good to go now. Now let's try to figure it out with a controller, with the action method, to get us the list of these many-to-many relationship. So this is what you want to do. Now let's clear this off. So we just want to include the color, the size. You know, with the color, it is 1-to-1. No, the size here, it is 1-to-1, and the color is many-to-many. So let's change the size. So here's supposed to be color, then here will be the size. You know, the size is 1-to-1 and the color is what, many-to-many. So when you get the product, the size here is going to be only one. It could be small, big, large, and etc. But when you talk about the colors, a single product may have multiple colors: red, blue, green, and etc. Okay, so now we've combined all the three relationships here. We have 1-to-1 and we have many-to-many. Now let's save this. Let's refresh the application, and now let's see. So we wait while application loads, then we see what to go about it. So now it is now loading. So let's click on get application or get product, try it out. Now let's pass in of product ID 1. So let's execute and wait and see the output of this. So if you check here, you can see we have the ID 1, that's the product ID. Now this product ID has category ID of 1. So this ID, it has a category ID of 1 over here. The same product also has the same category ID of 1 over here. Now if we actually check this, you can see the size, that is large over here. But if we check the colors, this has only one color, that is blue. But if you check this ID, the next one, you can see it has also the size of XXL. There's no color here. Now let's see. Let's go to the next one. So I pass in 2, and now let's see. So 2 has a color of purple, and it has no color over here. Now let's see for 3. Now 3, you can see it has a medium size, and the color here is what? So we have blue and we have white. So it means it has 2 colors. Now let's see the next one. This one has no color. And now let's see 4. So you can see it has also this. Okay, so there's no data here. So 5. And let's see what we have. So you can see that from 5, it is just freezer. The size is small and it has 3 colors. So you can see that you're able to conquer all the relationship here concerning 1-to-1, 1-to-many, and many-to-many. So you can see from 1-to-1 we have it over here, and now from many-to-1, that is a category to the product. 1-to-1, it is a product to color size, and many-to-many is a product to colors. So I believe this is clear, although this video is taking a little much longer, but actually you want to grab or have the concept in doing that. So to just recap, now if you want to perform the 1-to-1, what you have to do here is, you can see with 1-to-1, we just have to call the class of the object inside the other table that you want to have a relation with, okay, and you specify the ID. But in case it is many-to-many, examples, when you go to the colors, it has to be a list. And when you go to the product too, now it's supposed to also be what? A list. 1-to-1, it is just a class, and it's with its object. Many-to-many is supposed to be a list. So take note on that, and you are good to go. Alright, so that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I believe this is clear, and hopefully I'm going to catch you up in the next video.